Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Authentic Audience Podcast. My name is Krista Ripma, and I am your host. I was sitting down to record a solo episode today, and Clay knocked on the door, which sort of surprised me because you haven't been a guest on this podcast in over a year.
Yeah, I know. It's been a whole year. Crazy.
But what I wanted to talk about today was this theme called Give Them Their Money Back. And I think...
I love that.
Yeah, Clay has a lot to say on this, so I'm excited that he walked in. It was super organic and authentic. We're not making this up. But before we dive into that theme of what's going on, I wanted to sort of update on what's going on with us, because a lot's been happening since my last solo episode. It was basically me venting. It was right after Ram Dass left his body, and I basically broke my tailbone and had that allergic reaction, and a lot was happening. But
that was a rough time.
That was a rough time. So since then, we've moved. We live in Santa Cruz now, and why don't you share how that's been going?
It's great. We have a separate office now, so we don't work from home anymore. We go to the beach every day, pretty much. We go outside way more. We see the sun. We've started exercising. It's been a game changer, really.
Yeah. What do you feel like the biggest difference is?
How friendly people are.
Totally.
That's been such a shift from San Francisco. Like, obviously we have good friends in San Francisco and they're friendly to us, but like your average sort of person on the street isn't particularly friendly in San Francisco. And here everyone's, hey, how's it going? How's your day? And they actually care about the answer. They are actually asking you, how is your day? Which is a huge shift from living in a big city.
Yeah, I think for me, a big part of my like hesitancy towards moving here, I just never wanted to like move to the suburbs. It feels like this sort of like, I don't know, giving up on like becoming adults, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I mean,
like,
Santa Cruz is hardly like...
I know, but Santa Cruz
suburbs.
isn't that. But I think, we tend to like judge or overcomplicate things, and it's like, what was I thinking? Like, I just thought that like we have this company, we have to live in the city, we're young, we just got married, like we don't want to be thinking about that stuff. And what's really changed for me is I'm like, are the schools good here? Like, I'm thinking long term.
Yeah.
Which for my little Gemini mind has never really happened. I've moved what we realized, and so have you. I moved 11 times in the last 13 years because I was thinking, since I had Charlie, my dog, our dog, your dog, really now, how many times we'd moved together, and it's been 11 times. And I'm buying a lot of plants. That's something we've been doing a lot of.
Yeah, we got really into buying plants. Yeah,
for me, that is so like symbolic of where I'm at, right? Like planting roots, like
yeah, there you go,
having a home, and it really feels like, as much as I really want to sail around the world, and I know we will, this feels like a really nice place to come home to. Yeah, and I haven't really felt home in quite a while, since I lived on my boat actually, and so it's been really peaceful and really great. Still had a panic attack last week, but overall, it's been good.
Yeah,
what did
I
you
would
say?
I would say. Okay, let's jump into it.
Okay, let's jump into it. You ready? Enough small talk?
Enough of the chit-chat.
Enough feelings?
Yeah, enough of the feelings and chit-chat. Let's get to the meat of this
I'm so glad you're here. So the theme that I decided on for this episode today is called Give Them Their Money Back, because we have had in the last month just sort of like experience after experience, actually I would say the last couple months, where the theme around money and like the energy that money holds when you pay somebody for a service, it means something, I guess, and especially if you have a small business. And I think maybe we should start with actually what happened to us last week. And then I want to give examples of how we've actually, given our money back, given people their money back. It's happened with clients recently, with their launches, like little things have happened. And I just think it's so important to keep the energy around paying somebody for something clean. And when it's not clean and someone's not happy, for me, it makes the most sense to clear that energy. How? Give them their money back, right? And so why don't you tell the story? I think we should start with what happened to us last week. and why we're so sort of upset by that. And then we can give examples. Like I was talking to Deborah earlier, and she said we could use that example about what happened around that launch. And, with a client a couple months ago, and then I have another client this week who had a crazy situation happen. And I just think it's important to talk about when you should give someone their money back.
Right. And just, everything that's around that too, just around money, especially for small business people. I think it's like, it was definitely like I'm still learning about it, but how to handle money, how to handle paying other people, how to handle getting paid, how to handle when somebody's not happy, when you're trying to charge your worth. Like there's just so much stuff around money that I feel like in the small business world that is just, I don't know, it's like a lot of stuff I didn't know. And it's been like a major source of growth for me in learning about it. And I'm still really learning about it.
You know where I feel like this actually kind of started for us was the car.
The car. Buying the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just bought a car. And it was such a funny experience because the guys who sell you cars are just the most ruthless, basically liars.
It was one of the worst, saddest experiences of my purchasing life, I guess, purchasing journey. And for me, it was the first time I ever bought a car. And so I was very excited. And when you decide to buy a car, it's an exciting thing, right? And it became this gruesome, volatile process
negotiation. Well, because
if you don't want to get totally fucked, then you have to
be kind of an asshole. Yeah.
And it was horrible.
It was funny because you went into it as the first time you'd done it, but it was not my first time doing it. And so I kind of knew what to expect about how it kind of worked out. And the funny part about it, I think the main takeaway for me about it was you had to kind of go to their level in order to get the deal done. And I did it, but I didn't like it.
You were really good at it, which scared me, but also kind of turned me on.
But it's time. Right. But it's that was I don't know what the profound lesson is in that, but it was those guys definitely do not do business honestly. It's just part of their whole business is made on not being honest.
Right.
And so in order for me to try to get the best deal and negotiate with them, I also had to lie to them.
And for me, it was honestly physically, I was very upset by the whole process, especially because, luckily for us, we're doing well. Our business is doing well. We have a good cash flow and we could afford to buy a car, and it wasn't taking every penny from us in the bank, right? But I know a lot of people save up for a very long time to be able to afford a car, and then these guys are
just take advantage.
Taking advantage, and it just the whole process. I guess maybe I've been in a bubble because the people we normally do business with and interact with on a day-to-day basis, it's so honest. It's so transparent, and this was just unbelievable.
That was the other theme I think too of why we're maybe doing this episode is wait, I totally lost what I was gonna say.
I said it's so honest, it's so transparent, the people that we normally do business with.
Right. Yeah. In that they're doing business so differently than we're used to.
Yeah.
We are in that bubble.
Yeah. Totally. And I did manage to as Deborah Silverman would say, turn on the observer and actually put myself in just the witness of this experience and what it brought up for me and how they behaved, and just this weird inauthentic human interaction where we finally got the car, and it was so messy and nerve-wracking, and I just felt like it should be this really exciting thing, and it was totally wild. And so I guess it's been since that happened, I think that sort of started this theme for us.
Yeah, we had a bit of a cascade of just sort of business and honesty and money related things happen to us over the last, I don't know, little while.
Yeah.
The other one was the office. So we moved into
this is the big one.
So we moved into a new co-working space, and we got a private office, and we were super excited. We signed for like 6-month commitment or something.
Mm-hmm.
And from the very first day, the internet didn't work.
Yeah. And they said that they had fiber internet.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we have fiber. And I'm like, great. Like, I trust you. You know, like, I'm not going to like go run a speed test. It's a co-working space. Of course they're going to have internet.
Yeah.
So it just like didn't even cross my mind. And then from the very first day, the internet just straight up did not work. Like literally was not fast enough to even load a Zoom call. And we just went back and forth, and like we tried to be super patient, and we gave them like 3 weeks to fix this thing. Meanwhile, we're working from home while we're paying.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're, speeding through a lot of the story.
Well, I'm trying to get to the good part, which is like the meat of it. You know,
we a big part of moving to Santa Cruz for us was to be able to afford an apartment and a home and an office that are separate from each other, right? Because in SF, we were working from home. It wasn't conducive to our marriage or just like our well-being. And so we were so excited. And then day one, we get in, my email doesn't even load. My calendar, like I have better Wi-Fi on an airplane. And so every day they would promise to fix it. We would come in, open our laptops, have our coffee, no internet,
have to drive
home. And this happened for 3 weeks. And because they're also a small business, this isn't like a WeWork. This is like a
it was like a local one.
Small business, co-working space. We let it go and we let it go. And he said, we'll call you this weekend. Super nice guy, all this stuff. Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever got done. So we ended up telling him, if this isn't fixed by tomorrow, we got to go. And he's like, totally understand. Like,
he's
blah,
like,
blah, blah.
I got it. I'm going to get a new router, all this stuff.
Anyway, needless to say, we had to leave. So it was like this 3-week back and forth. We left. On the way out, he was super apologetic and said, I'm so sorry. Clay casually and calmly said, of course, we're going to want to break our 6-month lease. But in addition to that, it hasn't even been a month and we weren't able to work a single day in the space. Like, please, either prorate our rent or give it back to us.
Yeah, like give us something.
And he said, yeah, of course, blah, blah, blah. The next day,
they just wrote us and said, we're not going to give you your money back. And I was like, man,
what?
Like, who wants to make money that way? And it was like, it was $1,000.
Which, like, I'm fine, no big deal.
But it's enough money that it he was like, I'd like to have that $1,000 back. That would be nice. But it's like, dude, like, what is that seriously how you want to make money?
It's
you
just so unclean. Like,
money?
These people move in, have a horrible experience, don't work a single day, and you don't give them their money back. And to me, I'm just like, how does it even cross someone's mind to not give us our money back?
I could never.
It's just crazy to me. And so that's sort of like spun into this conversation. And we had a team call at the beginning of the week. And each week on our team calls, we have like an intention or a theme. And this one's was give them their money back. And that's the customer is right. That is the client is right. If we have a client, and this happened a couple months ago, and I talked about it on that last podcast that I did, where we had a client that was very unhappy with us and was never going to be happy with us. And it was really an awful experience. The accusations were awful. And Clay just, refunded all of the money, like even from the work that we had already done, as a way to just sort of clean that energy and put it in good faith. Right. And I think a big piece of, this giving them their money back conversation. Also, just to finish that story, literally 3 days later, the exact amount that we paid back or that we gave back, one of our other clients transferred us a surprise bonus. That was the exact price or the exact amount. And so it's like, really, when you trust and when you...
It comes back. It always comes back.
It always comes back. And what's so funny is we ended up losing this money, to this guy last week. And I said to Clay, like, I wonder where it's going to come from because I know we're going to get it back. And we have been doing this for a long time now, and we've sort of earned that trust. But I think the piece about giving somebody their money back that I kind of wanted to go back to and why we were talking about it on our call this week is sometimes when somebody does pay you, and this happened with a client that I was talking to this week, they feel because they pay you, you are under their, like they can treat you like shit. Basically.
Yeah, basically.
And if you're in a situation, and a client and friend of mine was this week, where someone had paid her a substantial amount of money for coaching, and this person was like blaming her for like causing all of this like trouble and like basically, when you're a coach, you take on a lot of people, you take on a lot of shit from people and their baggage and their story and their wounds. And this person was using it against her. It was using that against her and was just, I paid you this, because that's all people have to hang on to sometimes. And that's what was happening with us too. In the winter, she was just like sort of berating Clay because like, I paid you this. And at that point, it's like, if you're working for somebody and they're treating you a certain way because they think they can, because they paid you, like just because somebody pays you doesn't mean that they have a right to treat you however they want.
Right. And it's such a good way of just taking all the energy out of a situation, like immediately, for me too, because you just don't want to be in that situation where they're feeling angry towards you and you're feeling resentful towards them. And it's like, I just sent the money back. And then suddenly it was like, well, well, I got my money back, so I guess I don't really care anymore. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't care anymore either. And it's like, great.
Because money carries so much like baggage.
Right.
Right. So much like everyone has their money story, right? Or like, I'll never have enough, or, there's so much
fear. There's so much fear and baggage.
And just energy around money. And when you're a small business, like we're exchanging money with our clients, we're paying our employees, like we're either getting or paying money every single day.
Time, like every day.
Writing invoices. And, a lot of my clients are my good friends and I have to be like, hey, here's the invoice.
I still pay
it this week.
I still get nervous sending invoices, truly. Even for clients that are super happy long-term, I still get nervous doing it. I don't like it. There's something about it.
It's such a weird energy.
It's such a hard thing. Yeah.
So my client, and friend that I was talking to this week, she ended up giving this person that she had already coached, for like a month or two, all of it back. And it was a lot of money. It was over $3,000. And we did that actually. I'm just remembering.
We did that before,
in our marketing program.
We talked about that on the last podcast, I think.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
We gave the money back for the whole program because it's just not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And when you're good at what you do, and when you know that you deliver value to people, and you know you're in integrity, and you know you don't rip people off, like when you know you're in integrity and someone is just not going to be satisfied, or they're going to use it against you, that money will come from somewhere else, somewhere so much cleaner. Like it's not worth it.
It's not. Yeah, it's totally not. It's totally not.
So I just wanted to talk more about that today, and I've been telling our employees, the people that work for us, how important this is. Like if someone's not satisfied, if something goes wrong, like we just give it back. And it really changes the energy around the conversation.
Even when you feel, it's like so tempting to like be sort of righteous about it, like, oh, blah, blah, I'm right, and maybe you are right. Like in
Clay
the office thing.
Always tells me when I'm right, I'm righteous.
But it's like, even with the office thing, like we were so right.
Yeah.
We were so fucking right. And they were so fucking wrong. And like, they didn't see it like that, and they never will. No. And you just gotta let it go. You just got to let it go.
Especially as a small business. I just think, every interaction is so important. And every client and every customer, whether it's an intro call for, a couple hundred or a year contract for tens of thousands, like it's just every interaction around money is so sacred. And it's like somebody trusting you with their energy, because that's what money is. It's energy. And I'm going to, give you energy for my work or whatever. And in return for you giving me energy, which is just like a financial, money exchange, whatever. But I wanted to dive into a couple more examples because as we go into launch our courses, and as we, I want to talk about that a little bit at the end of this. We don't have too long, but as we go into launching our courses, something that's really important to me is as we launch these courses, I actually want to teach people through our launch process about launching. And a big piece of launching anything is actually creating and launching something of value out of integrity, all of that stuff, which is why it's taken us so long to launch our courses, because 1, resistance, and 2, we want them to be epic, and they will be. But the example that I wanted to give, because we all make mistakes, right, is what happened with the Start Community launch. And I was talking to Deb about it earlier, and she said, oh my God, please use that as an example. So
That's cool. Yeah, it's kind of fun that we can use a real.
Yeah. So as most people know, we do marketing for Deborah Silverman's online platform called the Star Community. And twice a year, Deborah launches her applied astrology program. And at the end of that program, for people, sort of at the end of that launch sequence, we introduce them to the Star Community and give them an opportunity for like a discounted rate or like a one-time access to the Star Community as part of that sequence. And I was not fully sort of on the sequence because Clay has been doing it for a while. You've been doing the sequence. And so an email got dropped. And what did the email say?
The email said join for free.
The email,
get started. What was it? Get started absolutely free. So like in marketing,
join the Star Community absolutely free at no cost.
Yeah, no cost. Or it was like something like that. It was pretty over the top considering that it was a free trial.
So what we actually were selling was a free trial. And coming from Authentic Audience, that Clay's smiling, that email could come off a little bit misleading, and sure enough it did.
It did. And people were
confused because they saw this email saying get in for free, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, this is great. And they click on it, get to the landing page, like which clearly outlines that it's a free trial. And I was livid because one, it's a great product. So we don't need to like gimmick people into clicking because it's an amazing product. And I hate that about marketing. Like, cause I was like, why would you do that? And Clay goes, well, it was going to get more clicks. And
it does. Yeah. But that's such a thing in marketing. It's like, you got to find the balance between, being honest and also like you want to have a headline or a clicking thing that people are going to click on, like a headline that people are going to click on. So
that was a hard one.
That was a tough one, but it was
people reacted, and a lot of people didn't because we've run ads that said start for free, and that's true.
That's legit. You can start for free.
It is start right now for free. That is true. That is authentic, a true statement. But what was written and what was sent, I didn't have final approval on, and it just went out.
It was me that had the final approval. Just to be clear to all you listeners, what she's saying is it was his fault, not mine. At the end
of the day, when you have a business,
and it was my fault.
Whoever sent it, it's the fault of Authentic Audience.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So it's our team.
We're responsible.
And so what we ended up doing is, there was just a small handful of people that felt really duped, by this. It wasn't a big amount. We had a ton of signups. It went out to thousands of people. And
the vast majority.
We
were very happy.
We heard from less than 10 people. But still, this is what I'm saying. Even those 10 people, it matters. And,
it matters, yeah.
And for the clients that we really like, I was talking to Jordan a couple days ago, and she refunded something for somebody because they, misunderstood. And I just think, and it was one person, right? And even though it was just one or a handful of people, I was like, we got to make that right to these people. So what we did was we personally reached out, or from the team, reached out to the people that wrote in, offering them 6 months free, giving them 6 months free access. Because what that does when you do that, it's like at the end of the day, the Star Community, first of all, is like the beginning of Deborah's funnel. So if they
it's her like cheapest thing. Yeah, if one of those people goes on to buy. If
one of those people has a great experience in the Star Community for the next 6 months, like they'll be loyal to her, and it's not, the product is good. The offering is authentic. It was this one sentence that needed to be cleared up, and we ended up fixing it.
Okay, so then here's the question for you.
Yeah.
What is the line? I don't really know the answer to this, but what do you think the line is between, working in integrity and giving people their money back and getting screwed over? Because there is also where somebody's super unreasonable and like trying to not pay you for something or work that you did, and it's like, where is that? And I don't really know the answer, but where is that line? Because we've been through both, we've had all those. All I can
say is like, I feel it in my bones. Like, I know that's crazy, but like, in your heart, like, energetically when you're putting something out there, what the intention is behind it. Because I say this all the time, nothing is neither good or bad. It's the intention you bring to it. And our intention in that email was not to do
To
people,
mislead, yeah.
not
No.
to mislead. My God, no, that was never the intention. And the minute that was brought to our attention, you do something about it and you lean into it. And I think that's the bigger conversation. It's like lean in. And the last example I'll give is, we recently had a couple of emails come through from somebody that we've been working with. And, it was clear to me that they wanted to pay us less. Let's just put it that way from these emails. And I was my ego was just so mad. I was like fuming, like, I don't understand. We do so much. We're so valuable. And then my whole story, my wound of not feeling valued and all of that stuff kicks in. And then you were like the opposite. And you're like, you do not send anything. Do not get mad. Like, da, da, da. And this is what I mean about, maybe this is the line, right, that you're asking about. And so I really listened to you because these are people that we value working with. We value the friendship. We value the relationship, the business. All of it is so important. And that's what happens with a lot of our clients. They become like important people to us. And so then when I feel like they want to pay me less, I feel even less value. And, it's this whole crazy thing. But what I ended up writing was, listen, you mean so much to us. Let's lean into this conversation. How can we create, redistribute funds, redo our contract, renegotiate
which
deliverables?
was totally the right thing. I think the initial reaction was like, oh my God, this is fucking bullshit, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, okay, then you calm down a little. We both were like, okay, what do we do here? Figure out how to make them happy. Yeah. What can we do?
But I think it's lean in, it's like, it's not easy to have these conversations with clients, with friends, with people, with employees, and I want to help make that conversation easier for people and lighter, because it's been a big lesson and a big sort of experience for us as we're growing, as we're hiring, as we're pricing, as we're raising our prices. Just so much of our lives is around money, and it's like this taboo topic. And so I ended up writing this email that was like, listen, you guys are so important to us. This relationship is amazing. And one thing I said is, I don't think there's any other marketing team out there in the world for any price that could do the job that we're doing for you. However, I think that we could always do better. And that's what I want to do. And how can we do it? And that was received so well. And now we had this huge strategy call about a new plan, and we can't wait to present it. And it's like the energy around it has totally changed, because I was just, when my ego just sort of really flared up, when I'm like, oh, they want to pay me less. And it wasn't even a fear-based thing around not having enough money. It was just like, I deserve it, So the ego, I think, plays a huge role in it, because there's fear around losing money. Like there's ego around, I deserve that money. That's mine. Or
I did the work, like with your friend who refunded somebody. It's often so tempting to like say like, well, I did all that work, all that time, all that energy that I put in. And then like, what, should I not get paid?
Yeah.
And then that's really hard. But then it's like, you just have to let that go. It's just sunk costs.
And I think the biggest lesson we've learned in that is like, it comes back.
It comes back.
And you don't even know where or when or how, but when you're really, really trusting in your service and in your integrity, and it's something I'm really trying to teach our team. And that's why that was sort of our theme this week is, when I think the answer is, when do you give them their money back? If it's a question, if it's in doubt, give it back.
Just give it back.
Give it back.
Just give it back.
And, when you give, when you provide value, when you operate in integrity, the abundance that comes back to you is so massive. And like, you just feel better energetically. And when you feel better energetically, then your work is better, your creativity is better, people can feel it, and the money comes back.
Well, you know what my dad said?
What?
About when I told him about this office thing, he's like, he just like very calmly, he's like, well, it sounds like they won't be in business very long. And it's like, that's the truth, is that with all this like business advice and whatever, like entrepreneur books and stuff, and there's like so much good stuff out there, and I've read so much of it, but it's like ultimately the thing that it always comes back to for me, have happy customers.
Yes. Have
happy customers. Even if they're not your customer anymore, leave them happy.
Yeah.
And like that is a formula for long-term success. And that's been really true for us. It's not about making the most amount of money that you can, just like have happy customers. And in the end, it works out.
Happy customers, happy life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true though, because we're still getting referrals, from people we worked with years ago. And it's just so important to me to leave a good taste in people's mouth. You don't know who they know. You don't know who they're going to interact with. And the best form of marketing will forever be word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Yeah.
And if you're a small business and you're leaving people unhappy and you're burning bridges and over, a couple $100 or even a couple $1,000,
or tens of thousands, those businesses just don't last, they, well, I guess some of them do, but
yeah, but their energy's not.
But the energy's bad.
The energy's bad.
Who wants to have a business like that where everyone hates you?
Yeah,
Then you're like Comcast or something,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just, I wanted to just sit down and record this because I think we're not experts on business. What we are experts in is marketing, but we're not experts in how to run businesses.
True.
And how to, we're just learning as we go. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are doing the same. Entrepreneurs have an idea and they run with it and it goes. And we took what we were really good at, turned it into a business that works, but we're learning how to run a business.
Right.
We're learning how to structure an organization. Those are all things that don't come naturally to us. What comes naturally to me is marketing. Yeah. And what comes naturally to you is the automations and the systems and the budgeting and all that stuff and the ad spend, which makes such a good marketing team. But a business has so many other pieces, and that's what your dad was saying on our episode, was there's the core and then there's the context.
Yeah, right.
And they're equally important. And so what we've done a really good job of lately is hiring people to fulfill those roles that aren't in our zones of genius so we can keep focusing on the core of our business, which is marketing. But all of these things have come up. We're small business owners. We're turning 3 in March. Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It was 2017, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's 2020. Yeah. So we're about to turn 3. And growing pains are a good thing. It means you're growing.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else to sort of add on any last minute business advice or something that you've learned that you feel like?
I don't know. I mean, I just feel like we're so figuring it out still.
Yeah.
But the money thing for a small business, no matter what it is that you're doing, you're going to be dealing with money. You're going to be paying people. People are going to be paying you. And I don't know. I hope that was helpful for people.
Yeah.
To just think about that stuff,
me, it's just keep it clean,
Yeah, keep it clean.
That's
what's right. You know what's right.
And
just do what's right.
You're fucking somebody, know when you're getting the best of them or the thing over their head, or I don't know, I'm saying all the things wrong, but when you're pulling
the wool over their eyes.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
For those of you that don't know, Krista can't get a turn of phrase or any kind of expression or idiom correct. So that's a good one.
What was the one of the moon that I was saying? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Something about the moon, and you were like, that's not it. But anyway, I think for me, I wanted to just dive in and sit with this topic because it's something that everyone's dealing with every single day, no matter where you're at in business. And
on top of the moon.
On top of the moon.
That was it.
Instead of
over the moon or on top of the world. You said on top of the moon.
But you know what
I mean. And with that.
You know what I mean when I say it. So anyway, thank you for joining me for this discussion. I think we should do more of these. I want to maybe every 3 or 4 episodes, just do a 30-minute sort of check-in update.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe in a couple of weeks, we can come back on to talk about the course launch because that's going to happen in a month from now.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, little call to action for you guys real quick. We launched this week something we've been working on a very long time, and that is a free guide called How to Grow Your Email List Authentically and how to grow your audience and email list authentically. It's a 20-page guide. It's epic.
I wrote it. It is actually free.
It is actually free.
We're not lying.
There's no gimmicks. And part of it is, we want to start putting the message out there of how important your email list is. Also throughout this launch, I actually want to teach people how to market through our marketing. So I'm going to be sharing in each piece of the process.
You
right
know what
now.
it's like? You know,
What?
it's like when Penn and Teller, you know, the magicians,
Yeah.
Penn and Teller, they do this stage routine where they like reveal all the magic that they're
Yes.
doing, which is like the first rule of magic is that you don't show how the trick is done. Cause like in marketing, you never tell people that they're in a funnel.
But I'm telling you, you're in a funnel.
But you're in a funnel.
So right now you're in phase one of our
You're in
funnel.
phase one
It's
of our
called
funnel.
Awareness, and marketing is awareness, consideration, purchase. And the longer you can have somebody in that awareness and consideration phase, the better the purchase is. So what that means for you is you're going to get a lot of value.
We're going to
from
give
us,
you so much
but
value.
We're going to, continue to provide value where we show you that this is actually something that's going to be amazing with no gimmicks, no bullshit. It's going to be super affordable. All of the courses are going to literally change your business and lives, is my hope.
Hopefully.
And that's why it's taking so long to launch. But basically, all that's coming. My bigger mission is to have people understand marketing and this piece of knowing that you're in a funnel. I personally love when I see somebody that I follow and I love and I buy their products. Like
Yeah, but we're marketers because we know that we're in a funnel.
But I know I'm in a funnel and I don't care because
Right.
if it's a good offer,
Who cares?
I'm going to buy it.
You're going to buy it anyway.
The more people are aware of, oh, I just opted in for their free thing. They're going to try and sell me something in a few weeks.
Right.
Let's see what they're going to do.
Let's see what they're going to do.
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm excited to share the marketing secrets behind our marketing launch as we go through it. So I'd love to see you back on here in a month.
Sure.
But in the meantime, I have the free guide link in my bio. We actually haven't added it to the website yet, but it's join.authenticaudience.co/guide if you want to download it. And that's our phone going off because we have to hop on a call.
Let's hop on a call.
So,
all right.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it was great.
Loved this conversation. I love you.
Love you too.
Thanks for being such a good business partner.
That was a high five, by the way.
Yeah. And to everyone listening, wherever you are in your business or in your journey, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And until next time,
Keep growing.
The worst. You are the worst.